does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Wow.
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for something a little bit different. I've had some requests to do some lists, and I thought I would start it off with a list that is very near and dear to me and my life, and that is the top 5 games for toddlers, more specifically 2-year-olds. Because if you know that you have a toddler, like I do, it's very hard to do things. Sean, do you like to play games?
Okay.
He loves to play games, though, but it's hard to find games for that particular age. Once you get to 3 and 4, there's tons of games. But when you start with 2, it's really hard to find games. So I'm going to be going over our personal favorite top 5 games that we play, and also we're going to go over some honorable mentions first real quick. So the first honorable mention we're going to have are, Sean, can you hold that up? A deck of cards. You can pick up 2 decks of cards at most dollar stores for $1. Oh, do you want Daddy to get them out? And here's the thing about cards. It teaches children what I really like. Numbers, which is fantastic. Colors, if your child doesn't know red and black yet. But more importantly, well, not more importantly than numbers, is how to properly take care of cards, which is very important if you plan on playing hobby games with your kid eventually. That's one thing that I think a lot of parents don't think about is, yes, we got it, Sean. We do have an A. Very good. We take care of our cards, though, don't we, Sean? We don't want to break them. Yes. And that's one of the reasons why I really like that. So the next honorable mention I have are dice. Just a big old box of dice. And if you want to really mix it up, try and get some Rory story cubes and start telling your child some stories. But children really love playing with dice. Do you like playing with dice, Sean?
I do.
He does. So that's another honorable mention. We have 2 more games on the honorable mention side before we start. The first one is Ants in the Pants or Ants in the Square Pants. Now his dexterity is not quite up to snuff for Ants in the Pants. By the way, this is from Milton Bradley. You can find this at any big box store, your Walmarts, your Targets, whatever. Your Targets. But this is really fun because they still can shoot it like basketball. Then they'll try and use the little dexterity. It's a fun game for you to kill some time, and it's also a fun game for him or her when they're 2 years old. Moving on to a game that's really going to get a lot more play when they get a little bit older, but they can still play when they're younger. That is Fast Track from Blue Orange Games. This is a very, very enjoyable game. It's light on the price tag. I think it's about $20. You're going to get tons of replayability on this game. Me and my wife still like playing this game. Now, when he's 2, it's just kind of more of a exploring and... You are 2. It's just more of an exploring and playing type of thing. However, as he gets older, this game is going to get tons of play. I know this because, well, I play it in my classroom, my preschool classroom with 3 to 5-year-olds all the time. So if you make the investment on Fast Track early, let me tell you, you're going to get tons of bang for your buck. So those are the honorable mentions. Let's now get into our top 5 games for 2-year-olds. 5 games. Oh, Sean. Thank you. I think that was random, but if it wasn't, I'm impressed. So, number 5, we're going to go with actually a line of games, and that is the Cranium line. So, the first 2 that I'm going to point out are Cranium Caribou, which is a treasure game where your child is going to take the key to a treasure thing and be using cards to try and open up various different slots on there. Now, I did a review of this game. Let me open it up so you can see exactly how it works. But it's going to have this big board. Now, this is what comes inside the box. You're going to put little balls in here, and there's going to be various different shapes and colors, and even some letters. And they're going to have various different numbers and shapes and colors, and they're going to be trying to find the balls inside by opening up the treasure. Let me show you how it works real quick. Hey, Sean, can you pick up your cards real quick, bud?
Okay.
Thank you. So, how this works is, you're going to be taking this, and you would flip over a card, and it would say, for instance, red. So they might flip over the red, and what they do is they stick it in there, and it should open right up. And then there's a ball inside there. They're going to stick it into this little hole, and then eventually this little hole is going to cause this piece of treasure to open up, and hooray, they've won the game. But it works on colors, it works on numbers, and it works on letters, which for 2 and 3-year-olds is really, really good. Whoa! Almost knocked over the tripod. Another cranium game I really enjoy, well, he really enjoys, I don't really enjoy it, is Puppy Pals Bingo. This is your bingo, but it works on colors, it works on, it works on colors and shapes. So that's really good for their age as well. Also, you can't really go wrong. Most of the cranium games are really good. So highly recommended. Another great thing about the cranium games is you can normally always find these games at Goodwill for really, really good prices, or at thrift shops for really good prices. So, moving on to game number 4. I'm going to go with one of my son's favorite games from a company called Think Fun, and that is Clever Castle. Now, this is a game he really enjoys for a couple different reasons. First, really good components. I like that. He's not breaking this. He's not slobber on it. No biggie. Comes in a nice little mesh bag right there as well. And it has big chunky pieces for some of the things he loves. Like dragons and knights and princesses and all that kind of stuff. But essentially what you're going to be doing in this game is you're going to be trying to match a picture. So I just showed you those chunky pieces. You're going to get this booklet. And this is all these games that I'm listing. You're definitely going to have to work with your child to play with, obviously. But now they just have to try and recreate this picture onto this board using those chunky pieces, and they get progressively difficult. Obviously, when you first start with your child, you're just going to be working on colors and top, bottom, middle, those sort of concepts. But Sean really enjoys this game. I enjoy playing it with him, and it's fun to watch him develop and slowly but surely move up the number pad. Like, I think he's up to number 6 now, which is incredible because they do get progressively more difficult. This is another one of those games that if you buy it early, you're probably going to get quite a bit of bang for your buck because they're going to be playing it in the 3, 4, 5, 6. I think this game really goes up to 6 or 7 as well. So that is Clever Castle from Think Fun. And they also have a lot of really good educational games, but not so much for kids his age. Moving onward to my number 3 game, we're going to be talking about the Haba line. Now, if you haven't heard of Haba, Haba makes absolutely fantastic component games. And most of their games are absolutely outstanding, too. Now, what they have is they actually have a brand called My Very First Games. Now, I right now have 2 copies of this. I have Hungry as a Bear, and I have Evening in the Stable. Both these games he really enjoys. In this one, you're essentially going to be trying to put various different animals to sleep. But let me show you some of the components in this game. Because that's what Haba's really well known for, is just having absolutely fantastic, chunky components, big dice. You know, we got these pigs that go to sleep. You flip them over, they go to sleep. Those are nice, thick tiles. Just fantastic components. Likewise, with Big Hungry Bear, a game where you're going to be setting up this big bear, and it stands up maybe about 8-9 inches high, and they got a little spoon they have to feed the bear, rolling this big chunky die. Do you like Hungry as a Bear, Sean?
I do.
He does. He really does. We get Hungry Bear requests all the time. So really, any of the Haba games, in my experience, especially with the My Very First Games line, you cannot go wrong with. Check them out. Haba Games. They make absolutely fantastic games designed specifically for this age range, which is always good. Ooh, careful the tripod bar. So those are my number 3. Moving on to my number 2. Now, I was torn between number 2 and number 1 because I do have a little bit of nostalgia on this game. Now, my number 2, and Precursor. This is a really hard game to find, which is unfortunate. I've actually talked to them about reprinting it, and they wouldn't let me. So we even thought about potentially ripping them off, which, let me know in the comments below what you think about that die and just making a game similar to this, but not exactly the same. And that is Go Away Monster from Game Right Games. This is, you love Go Away Monster, don't you? We were playing this game with my son when he was about 17 months old. And as you can tell, he really enjoys this game. It's a very, very simple game where everyone's going to have a puzzle in front of them with a room. And in this room, you're going to have to put things on it. A teddy bear, a bed, a lamp, and a picture. And you're going to be reaching into the bag, drawing them out. So you got this little bag right here. And oh, we got a bed! And you're trying to get all of the pieces to your room. But what's going to happen is, sometimes you're going to get a monster. If you get a monster, you throw it and say, "Go away, monster!" Sean, can you show him how to do it? All right, Sean. We just drew a monster. What do we do with it? Yeah, we do that. But you say, "Go away, monster!" But anywho, this is an absolutely fantastic game. It is a real shame that it's out of print because, you know, and it's because it's great. He still enjoys playing it too, but you can really play it when they're much younger. And I think this one though is definitely going to probably fizzle out about the age of 3. But if you can find a copy of this game, absolutely pick it up for your very young child. It is a lot of fun. It's a very simple game. You can play it with kids as young as 1.5 years, I would say. That is Go Away Monster from Game Right Games. So, we've gone through 5, 4, 3, 2. We are on 1. My number 1 game of all time for 2-year-olds, at least for my son personally. My number 1 is, and I knew it was probably going to be number 1 because he just absolutely enjoyed this game. And that is called Picturelink from Binary Arts. I don't know how easy or hard this game is to find, but it should be on every single store shelf on Walmart, period. This is an absolutely fantastic game that is all about teaching children to speak and also teaching children to identify different things. And how this works essentially is you'll get a board, they'll get a board, and then you're going to get these little green... You want a board? You're going to get these little green pieces. What you're going to do is you and your child are going to take turns finding something on the board. So, for instance, I would say, oh, buddy, I found the elephant. And then I would put my piece on top of the elephant. And then he would have to look all around the board to try and find an elephant. Now, the game itself is for older kids. And I play this in my classroom, and they really enjoy it. We can play the game later, but is that you try and get from one color to the next. So this is another one of those games that if you start them with it very early, at the age of, I'd say 2, you can play it all the way up to the age of 6 or 7, and this is still a really enjoyable game. I like it an awful lot, but if you can find this game, this is, and if your child speaks a good deal, this is absolutely a fantastic game that I cannot recommend enough. So, those were my top 5 games for very, very young children, ages 2 to 3 years old, I would say. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this type of list. I thought it would be funny and fitting if I did it with my son here. Hopefully that isn't too distracting. But let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite game for 2/2.5-year-olds? And also, if you are a game company and you're like, man, we make a really good game, be sure to contact me and send it to me, because I absolutely will do a review of that and will play the snot out of it with my son. But as always, thanks for your time, YouTube. Say bye-bye.